Good morning. My name is Erika Barber. I am also one of the Board of Director members for the Illinois chapter. I also co-chair this Out of the Darkness Chicagoland Community Walk. And, thank you. And I'm still my big sister's little sister. Even though I lost her 31 years ago, that will never change. And I hope that's something that you all feel too, is that that can't be taken away by suicide. I have really, truly the honor and privilege today to introduce our two keynote speakers. You may recognize both of them from Chicago's local talk and entertainment show, Windy City Live, which airs on Channel 7, weekdays at 11 o'clock in the morning. Earlier this year, it was on Windy City Live that both of our speakers shared their personal stories of loss to suicide. For Ryan Chiaverini and Ji Yi, or Gigi as she's known to her friends, it was the first time they spoke publicly about their family members who died by suicide and about their challenges living as survivors of suicide. Using that public forum to share their stories was truly an inspirational and an amazing way to promote awareness of mental health issues and suicide prevention. Since then, Ryan and Gigi, see, I can say that now because we're like this, right, Gigi? Friends. Yeah. Since then, Ryan and Gigi have continued their advocacy efforts. Ryan's band recently released their song Chicago, which is available for download on Apple iTunes. So everybody download as soon as I'm done talking. Well, as soon as they're done talking. As well as its video, which was released, and in which Gigi had a starring cameo role alongside some other famous Chicago celebrities. She did a wonderful job. And Ryan has graciously donated his proceeds from his song to AFSP and to the Out of the Darkness Chicagoland Community Walk. AFSP, the Illinois chapter, and the Out of the Darkness Chicagoland Community Walk Committee are grateful for their generosity, their commitment to suicide prevention, and for being with us here today. Please help me give a warm, warm welcome to Ryan Chiaverini and Gigi Yi.
Thank you so much. I cannot believe the turnout here today. This is incredible. It's overwhelming. You should give yourselves a big round of applause just for being here and supporting this. As Erika mentioned, earlier this year on Windy City Live, we did a show on mental health. We have 3 people that sit at our desk every morning, and what are the odds that 2 of us have been directly affected by this? In fact, the odds are good, and that's the sad part, is so many people die this way, and nobody talks about it. Nobody wants to speak of it, and I felt like, for me, I lost my brother January 14th, 2009, 5 years ago. And when that happened to me, being on television in the public eye, that the shame and the guilt that we've all felt like it was magnified for me. And I left work for a month, and I wasn't sure if I wanted to go back on TV, and I didn't want to face what was going to come when I went back on TV and the judgment and all of that, because I had the same misconceptions that everybody had about suicide. I had the same stigma. I didn't know. I was uneducated on the topic, and it wasn't until it happened to me and my family that I realized I need to educate myself on this and find out what this is truly about. So we decided to do that show, and G and I both spoke about it. She lost her father, and she'll speak in just a minute. We wanted to back out of that show about 3 or 4 times, and I remember I went into my executive producer's office just days before the show, and I said, I don't know if I can do this. I'm not sure I can talk about the worst day in my life on TV, and it was the hardest thing I've ever done. It was very difficult, but I'm so glad that I did it. The response was overwhelming with the number of people, and some of you told me that you wrote me letters, and thank you for that. Rochelle Jervis actually sent a fruit basket, which was very delicious, by the way. Thank you. And the reason why I'm telling you that, is because every year on my brother's anniversary of his death, I would take that day off of work. I have friends in this tent that have come out to support me that didn't know about my story. It's something that I didn't want to talk about. It was something that I was embarrassed about. My brother was 20 years old. I was the big brother, and I felt like I failed as a brother, as a big brother. And so it was something I didn't want to talk about. But if you've been to any karaoke bars, I am a musician. At least I claim I am. And I had written this song, and it was the first real happy song that I wrote after he died because I couldn't write anything that was happy. And I said, you know what? We should record this song, and if we can do something positive with it, it would be great. So it's a song I wrote about Chicago. It's on YouTube. It's on iTunes, as was mentioned earlier. And I'm going to donate everything that's made from iTunes, so I encourage people, hopefully, to watch it on YouTube. But the whole message was that my brother loved music, and I wanted to turn the worst possible thing that has happened in my life into something positive, and that's what we're all doing today. When you're walking today, I want you to think about the best memories you have of your person. I have so many, starting with these ridiculous glasses that were my brother's. But he was such a goofball, and that moment of silence, by the way, he would have totally screwed up because he would have yelled or done something funny. But it was important for me to, after 5 years, to do something positive and to be here and to support all of you because we all have a story and we're all now a part of this fraternity and sorority, an exclusive club that none of us wanted to be a part of, but it was a cause that chose us. And for me, being in the public eye and choosing not to speak about it and to hold this secret, I was really doing an injustice to all of you and all of the thousands of people and families that are affected by this each year. And I know for me personally, Tony Dungy's story, who was a former coach for the Indianapolis Colts who beat the Bears in the Super Bowl in '06, I won't bring that up. He lost his son that way. And I remember my twin brother gave me his book, and I started reading through his book, and I was thinking, wow, here's a guy who is incredibly successful, has this great family, he's adored, he's very spiritual and religious, and this happened to his family. And it started making me think, wow, maybe this happens to more people than just my family because I felt so alone at the time, which I know all of you probably went through that very thing. And then I felt more inclined to be able to speak about it here and there with close friends. But I still didn't want to go on TV and do it. And that brings me to the next celebrity that probably did the hardest thing of all time, and that was Magic Johnson. You remember when Magic Johnson came out and admitted that he had HIV and that he was going to retire. That speech is still, I still remember where I was when he made that speech. You probably all do too. And I remember thinking, before I went on and did this show, how did he do that? Like, how did he face the public? And that was at a time, when you talk about the misconceptions that are involved with suicide, the misconceptions that are involved with HIV at that time were just as much or greater. And I remember thinking, if he could do that, and if Tony Dungy could do that, I need to speak out, and I need to turn a tragedy into triumph, and I need to do something positive with the worst thing that's happened in my life. So that's why I'm here today. I know that everyone here has a story, and when you're walking today, not only think about your loved one, but say hello to the person next to you, because we're all in this family together, and we're all friends now. And I really encourage you to keep your loved ones' memories alive by speaking about them and saying their name. And again, I want to just say big thank you to the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. Rochelle, if you had never reached out to me, let me tie this up real quick, because Rochelle had sent the fruit basket, which I ate. And then when I decided to do the song, I was Googling who I should partner up with, because there's so many different organizations that had approached me and asked me to be a partner after this. And just by chance, I had about 10 phone numbers of people. I called Rochelle, and she calls me back. Yes. Yeah, give her a round of applause, because that's a big reason why I'm here. And she calls me back, and she says, Ryan, thank you so much for calling me back. And I said, what do you mean call you back? And she said, I've been trying to get a hold of you for months. I said, you have? She said, yeah, I sent you that fruit basket to the station after you did the show. And I said, wow, that was you? I said, wow, well, now I know that I'm partnering with the right foundation and the right group to try to get awareness out there. So thank you. And here's Gigi.
I never knew who sent the fruit basket. She sent me one too. Ryan, you forgot to tell me, so I owe you a thank you note. My name's G. I sit at the table with Ryan every day on Windy City Live, and I'm going to tell you something that nobody knows. When we talked about maybe doing the show, I'm the one that convinced Ryan to do the show. But then, 2 nights before the show, I wanted to back out. And at this point, he was ready to do the show. So then he, in turn, had to talk me into doing the show. So I have to thank him for that and for many things. And his video is incredible. His song is incredible. I said this on the show, but for me, I lost my dad when I was 14, which is kind of this pivotal time to lose your dad, right when you're middle school, heading off into high school. So it was before my freshman year. I had 2 friends that showed up to my dad's funeral because back then you just didn't talk about it. You didn't let anybody know how he died or what happened. It was just this type of mystery, so we didn't really publicize it. So at that funeral, when I lost my dad, I had 2 friends from high school that showed up because luckily their parents were in the know and kind of knew what was going on. Looking at all of you, I think of what my 14-year-old self would have thought seeing this. And so you're doing a great thing. Just by speaking your loved ones' names and by being here. And just on the off chance that somebody going by sees this walk, sees this many people. In fact, the cab driver that dropped me off was like, hey, what's going on here? And I told him. And he was surprised. Already you're creating awareness. So I think about myself and what I would have thought and how better I would have felt if I had had this type of walk. And even though it's been so much longer since I lost my dad than Ryan lost his brother, I think my pent-up emotions have a lot to do with the fact that it was so repressed for so long. So start the healing, and by being here, you're healing. And you're helping so many people that you don't even know. And you're also helping me. So thank you so much for letting me be a part of it. Thanks.
Are we almost ready to walk? I'm ready to run at this point. Thank you. You're absolutely right, though. It's been incredibly therapeutic, and I want to mention that, too, because, yeah, I know, but it is very therapeutic knowing that we have friends and we have other people that have been through this, because it is a very alone feeling. So doing the show, I think, didn't we feel so much weight off our shoulders? And it's such a topic that nobody wants to talk about in the media. I don't know if you know this, but there's a lot of media outlets that will not discuss it, talk about it. They don't report on it in the newspaper because they think that that will encourage it. As we learned by Robin Williams, that's not necessarily the case. In fact, the only positive that came out of Robin Williams, who was obviously a genius and beloved, is now I've had so many people tell me, wow, it made me want to learn more about suicide and why. And here was a guy who was famous and rich and adored and funny and talented, and it still happened to him. And I guess that's the only, silver lining in that, because it was obviously a huge loss, but it is making people educate themselves. And that's the biggest message that I want to send, is encourage other people to educate themselves, because it's really offensive to me when my brother died and I was in the public eye and it started leaking out here and there that people wrote on his Facebook page horrible things about being a coward. And I called those kids. It really hurt me, and it hurt my family. And so education is the biggest part of this. And everybody in this tent clearly has been through it, and we know. But think about before you were affected by this, and what your thoughts and what you were, education-wise on this topic. Probably in the same boat as a lot of people. So I try not to look at their ignorance as being their fault. It's really a cultural thing. It's really our entire country's fault for not educating more people on this topic. So let's have a great walk today. Let's think about great memories and great stories, and say hello to the people next to you, and let's have a good day.